start since it is 7 o'clock on March 13th, 2023. I will call to order tonight's meeting of the Norton Finance Committee. And I will do a roll call to see who is here. Kevin. I always go in alphabetical order. So poor Kevin gets called out if he's late. But there's no Kevin. Paula.
Here.
Steve. Another one. You can't be late if you're early on in the alphabet. Tracy, excuse me.
Here. Either or, fine.
Sandra. Sandy.
Here.
Joe. Frank.
Here. Don't do that.
Sorry. Bill. William.
Here.
Got it. Paul. See?
Here.
As simple as Bonnie.
Here.
Cody. Did he jump in? Nope. Steve, I see you did. Jumped in. I called your name already, but if you want to say here, you may. Steve Evans.
Here.
There he is. Hi, Steve. Zach.
Here.
And I am here. So if anybody sees Kevin or Cody jump in and I don't, please just let me know. Mike, shall we begin?
All right. So first up, we have highway. And let me put that up.
Is Keith coming?
I expected him.
He's late too. It can't be early on in the agenda and be late. Come on.
Let
not
me
doing it.
let me get his.
Preparing for tomorrow, so I guess we'll let it slide.
All right. The best part of the night is watching me try and share my screen. All right, here we go.
It worked.
All right. So the highway budget, the main items for increase in the highway budget, Keith has added $5,000 for overtime for work he needs in the cemeteries. And then down under expenses, licenses. We're obviously having difficulty getting people that have their licenses now. So this provision is in anticipation that we will have to hire people without licenses. But give me a second. Keith is trying to connect, but he should be on soon.
Okay.
So having trouble getting people with licenses. So now we'll be paying for people to go to class and get their licenses. And then we're having them sign agreements that if they only stay for a year, they have to pay it back. If they stay for 2 years, they have to pay 80% back and so on. So hopefully that will help us keep the staff up. And then on repair, maintenance, and vehicles, just because of the increased costs of everything, he's increased that line item. And then down the bottom, for surface treatment for roads, the cost of asphalt has gone up because of the cost of oil. So he's gone up $3,000 in that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Bill, go ahead.
Mike, for the licenses, how much does that, how many people does that cover?
That would only probably cover 2 or 3. It's between 7,000 and 8,000 to get a CDL now. It's expensive.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mike, or has Keith joined us?
He said he's trying.
Does he have the right link?
I'll ask him. And the other thing that Keith has is his snow and ice, which he's put in for 80,000 again.
Hey, Mike, sorry to interrupt. I just know
Yeah.
I'm having trouble logging in. The code 638, I think one of the invites has 639.
Got it.
There he is. He said he had to update his iPad.
What were you saying about snow and ice, Mike? It looks like the budget's the same.
I can share that. Well, in case you have any questions on this, Keith is on now. Keith, I went over the major increases for the education, repair maintenance of vehicles, and the cost of the asphalt. And everything else is pretty much the same, other than contractual increases. Anyone have questions for Keith on this section? And also, Keith, I mentioned the 5,000 for work that has to be done in the cemetery. All right, and I'll show you the snow and ice. Hey, Keith, you want to mention anything about your budget?
Yes, I didn't know I was on mute, so
You're gonna have to repeat everything you said.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
So,
that's all right.
yeah, I couldn't get on the meeting. I don't know, something's going on the computer. I'm not that very good with it, so my wife had to help me. But so, like Mike was saying, the salaries, I put $5,000 more in there because of all the cemetery overtime on Saturdays. Like we've gone up like 56% on just on the cemetery selling lots and stuff, and it's just out of control. You know, not out of control, but you know, if you look, I almost went. We're almost at 14,000 last year in overtime, and you know, usually, you know, with a highway department with 10,000, and the way the weather's been, I just think that we should be upping that a little bit. And then I know Mike talked about the classes, like the CDL classes. They've gone up to like $6,000 to $8,000, and you ain't gonna find nobody that's gonna come to the highway department and then go get their license. So I just figured we could throw that in there and pay for their classes, but they have to sign a contract, at least stay here for 5 years. You know, I think I know all the other towns are doing that. So I think it's a great opportunity to get younger people to come to the town and work. Parts increases. I can't even order a truck. It's crazy right now the way the truck industry is right now. So parts have gone up 3 times. It's gone up crazy. It's crazy money right now to buy parts. So that's why I asked for that increase. Same thing with the asphalt. It's everything's going sky high. I hope it comes down. I don't know, but there's something we got to think about, and that's why I'm asking to really help our budget and let us. You know, we need it because I guarantee they'll run out of money next year if we don't increase these things. And same thing with the signs. The sign shop, all the material's gone up. It's like tripled. So that's why my budget's gone up the way it is.
Any questions for Keith?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Bill, go ahead.
I don't know if this is a Keith question or a Mike question. Is it enforceable to to anybody who joins and then quits to claw back that money? Or is it more psychological?
It actually, they're putting it in, it's going into the new contract. And it actually says in the language that we can hold their vacation pay if they don't pay us. Now, whether that will say that works, but the union proposed that and agreed to it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Kevin. Welcome, by the way.
thank you. Bill, I was going to say my experience in the private industry is it's done more psychologically.
Yeah,
I've had
that's
a
what I
couple.
thought.
I've had a couple of folks go through something similar and leave, and there was some posturing, but management never went through with the actual legalese of pursuing it.
Well, they did sign a contract. If they did not stay here 5 years, they would pay it back. So, I mean, I guess we could definitely get counsel to go after them. I don't know. I just think it's a great tool to have someone come aboard. Because I couldn't find nobody last year. Everybody that wanted to work here that had a license wanted $30 to $35 an hour to start.
I have a couple of questions, Keith.
Yes.
Where it says surface treatment, that's different than snow and ice treatment, correct? Is that
Yeah.
like potholes and things like that?
Yeah, surface treatment is like, if you go down, if you drive down Norton, you might see some long patches we put in. That's the asphalt. So what we do is we try to, it's like a toothache. I try to get the cavity out of there, and then we pave over it. And it really lasts a long time. But the asphalt's gone from $50 to $100 a ton. That's why I was asking for, a little bit more money.
Right. Okay.
That's basically why I'm asking.
Gotcha.
And what was it, Keith, when you started way back when?
Well, I gotta say, in '94, it was $24 a ton in place. That means they came in and laid the blacktop down the road at $24 a ton, and now it's over $100 a ton.
And the next part of Keith's budget is snow and ice.
That's the same. That's 80,000.
Yeah.
We've been lucky this year.
I see that. We'll see
Madam
how
Chair,
we do tomorrow. Yes, Bill, go ahead.
for the newer members, does Mike want to explain why we
Sure.
always keep it at 80?
Yep. Snow and ice is the one budget that you're allowed to deficit spend in. But you cannot drop the amount that you request. So if we went up, say, to $100,000 this year in snow and ice, we can never go below that again. And we always hold free cash so that we can fund any deficit. As you can see, in 2022, it was $216,819, and we funded that at the special town meeting in May.
So as it looks right now, of course, we need to knock on wood to say this, it looks like we're not going to spend the 80 that was set aside for this fiscal year. So does that mean that it can't be turned back? That's what you're,
If we don't spend it, it's free cash.
oh, it does become free cash.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't hold on to it.
Any other questions for Keith?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Joe.
it's actually not for Keith, it's for Mike. So my question is, why do we even fund it at 80? I know we can't go back now, but why did it get raised to even 80,000 if you can deficit spend on it and we always backfill on it?
It's, like you said, we can't go back, and it's been 80,000. I've been here 11 years, and it's been 80,000 long before that. I don't know, Keith, do you know how long it's been 80,000?
I think when I first started, it was only 60.
Mhm.
So that's when Carl Jacobs was here. And then they put it up to 80. So that's 32 years.
Fair enough. I was just curious. So.
Yeah. Can you think of any years, Keith, where you didn't spend 80,000?
No, this is I'm talking all my life. I'm 61 years old. I never saw a winter like this year.
It is a rarity.
Yep. I'm gonna move to California. I want to plow snow there.
Plow sand.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Well, Keith, I had a rumor this is your last year with us. Is that true?
Correct.
Well, congratulations. A little bit early. I think Mike made extra effort tonight to point out how old you are. You said your age, but congratulations on your upcoming retirement, and we'll miss you around here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't join the meeting.
Pete, we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you, but I'll see you around the town.
Yes, sir. Hey, Paul, I know you see Paul Schleicher here.
There he is.
All right.
How you doing, Keith?
Very good. All right. So
Thanks, Keith.
you all set?
I think we are.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
And next is animal control. That is up, right?
Yep.
Okay. So in animal control, we have the salary for the animal control officer, $67,746, and also a part-time for an assistant at $12,113.
That's basically just to cover his vacations and
His vacation, that, yep. And overtime, 10,000. And then his expenses are pretty much the same as they were last year, a $50 increase.
well, I will open the floor to the many questions that are sure to be asked about dog officer. Going once. Going twice. Looks like we don't have any.
All right. Well, we'll move on to conservation.
Is it John?
John Thomas, yep.
Is he joining us? Is he here? I can't see everyone, so doesn't look like
And,
it's me.
All right, John, salaries, there's 2 full-time people in the department, John and his assistant. And then his expenses, he has a slight increase in his maintenance of conservation areas and also professional services. And professional services are used when they need to hire a consultant to review something, or a consultant to help them if they're applying for a grant or something, they may need some assistance.
Any questions? So you said he's not coming, Mike?
I thought he would be on, but something must have happened.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Joe, go ahead.
Mike, for the increase in the maintenance costs, is that because we've added additional conservation areas, or is it just an overall cost increase?
It's because, one, he sees that there has to be some work on some of the conservation areas. He wants to improve the trails and also the Edith Reed conservation area then some work to be done down there on the trails.
Thank you.
And I do know that John wants to get some better signage out there to make people aware of where all the different conservation areas are for walking.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Kevin.
I guess along those same lines, we've budgeted 12,000 this year. We only spent 2. Is there a reason why we didn't do that stuff this year?
Most of that work on the trails will be after the winter and the spring. So that's why it hasn't been spent.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Paul.
Mike, I don't see anything in here regarding the security for the facility at Camp Ada Reeds. I knew there was some vandalism. Is that something that's being looked into? Maybe some better cameras or something that maybe we can catch them?
Right, he can use some of that maintenance money he has for that.
Anyone else? All right,
Okay,
hearing nothing.
next up is planning, and I know Maria is on. And
I made it.
Hi, Maria.
Oops, I just lost you, so now I gotta find your budget again.
Uh-oh. Oh, wait.
Hey,
I
Maria.
I see 176.
All right, we'll do that one first. So 176 is for zoning, the $300, and the expense for Southeastern Regional Planning, $4,000. Maria, did you want to talk on that at all?
Yes, so for the most part, I have kept the budgets the same as the year before because I have been here 3 months and I'm too afraid to touch something and break it. So it's basically my budget the same as the year before. For zoning, we don't usually use the supply line, as you can see, but that's because we tend to touch plannings first. So we only go to zonings if needed. Like we needed to get new plates for the zoning board members. We got a couple new people join us, but usually that comes out of planning before it comes out of zoning. So that's why not much has been spent so far. Zoning is pretty simple.
Okay.
You also have the planning budget. Do you have it, Michael?
I just lost it. If you have it, do you have it?
I do. Yes.
You share. Does it show at the bottom of your screen?
Yes. So this is the last one that Michelle sent me, so I think it's the official one. So as you can see, the only changes, the only big changes would be my tuition reimbursement for educational assistance. That's something Michael and I negotiated when I first started. We have an MOU for it. Other than that, nothing much has changed. Like I said, I was too afraid to break anything. But I do have, I try to shrink my printing budget a little bit because I wasn't sure how much I would use it. And then this is something that I feel unsure about as of right now because my old color printer broke and we have a new printer, which is the fancy laser printers, which each cartridge is twice the price as the one I had before. So hopefully we just won't have a need to print in color very often. But that's the only thing I have to say. Everything else is the same.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Paul.
Mike, or Marie, the salary line item actually went backwards. We don't usually see that. It's down
Well-
$100, but usually goes up by at least a couple percent because of raises and stuff, so.
Well, Maria wasn't here last year, so.
Started less than the other gentleman.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
And I think it was also 6 months or so without a planner. So at 6 months, the salaries didn't have to be paid out to a planner.
Any other questions for Maria? Going easy on her first time out. We appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Hey, you know, live and learn. So maybe next year I'll have some outrageous requests, but I doubt it.
Probably, yeah, probably not, but
Probably not.
All right.
good to go.
Perfect.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, next, let me get COA up.
And I see Beth is here. Welcome, Beth. Oh no, Beth is
Thank
not here. She is in Paris.
I'm in Paris.
Jealous.
All right, so welcome, Beth.
Thank you.
So Beth and her staff, if you ever have a chance, go down and visit. They do a great job down at the COA. Probably one of the largest growing populations in town. And Beth has made some requests in this budget for the future. And I'm sure she can talk more on that than I can. But some of the things are, right now, the staff was budgeted for Beth as full-time, a part-time clerical staff, and a part-time outreach counselor. We have been using ARPA money for the clerical staff to make that full-time. And in this proposal, Beth is proposing to have a full-time clerical person and also another staff person to help her at the senior center. And also in this budget, we recently with ARPA funds purchased a van to be used by the Council on Aging and the Veterans Office for appointments and to take people to the store or to events. And there'd be salaries for part-time driver for the van. Beth, go ahead.
I think you summed it up nicely, Mike. What we're seeing at the senior center, Department of Human Services right now is just sort of an influx of people needing help. So our senior population is growing. We're seeing a lot of people come through the door, but we're seeing more and more people coming through the door who are looking for assistance, which takes a lot of my time, where I'm meeting one-on-one with people for emergency services. So this fiscal year alone, we've seen over 553 people on a one-on-one basis. So I need somebody to be me when I can't be me. When I'm in meetings, when I'm on vacation. Right now, we're sort of, both myself and my admin, we're at our breaking point, and we just really need the support. I think we also need to think about the future. We have a new building that should be finished in a little over a year from now, and we need to think about staffing it. That's about it. I think it's also important to mention sort of some of the amazing work that we did when we found out that our facility was busting at the seams with people wanting to do some of our programming. I wrote an expansion grant, and I'm getting $22,000 a year to rent some space and to hire instructors over there to take care of those people who want to participate. That in turn has enabled us to use our smaller space for more more clinical reasons. So we now have a caretaker support group. And it also gives us a little more privacy with our one-on-one clients that we see. We're seeing an increase in mental health. I mean, none of this is new, but there's a lot of mental health issues out there. We're in a housing crisis right now. There's just a lot going on.
Where's the new space?
We're renting the
space renting.
VFW.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we rented it last year and this year, and there's a verbal agreement that we can rent it. We would get the grant money until the new facility is open.
That's great. Anything else?
And
I'm sorry. I don't know if
I just-
interrupted you.
If I could, just wanted to mention the grants. Beth and her staff works hard on grants, and I know that they have obtained a few grants this year.
Yeah, I just heard today that we got a $7,500 for the Norton Energy Fund, so which is kind of a discretionary fund to help our residents who are struggling to keep their heat on. So between that and the energy grant we got for FY 22 through 24, we've been able to help a lot of people mitigate some of these difficult times and keep their heat on.
That's great.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Paula, go ahead.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
I'm just looking for clarity on the position. So you have currently, I just want to get this right. You have currently 1 full-time and 2 part-time, but the 2 part-timers, you've been paying them for full-time through ARPA funds, correct?
The outreach worker is part-time. The admin has been increased to full-time. One of the things that we sort of needed to implement through COVID and learning through that experience is that we needed to start a food program. So we have a grab and go lunch program this fiscal year. I forget how many we did. You know, we've served over 6,534 meals to seniors in need. So that program in itself is huge to manage. So that was why we needed to increase her to full-time. Now with this van, you know, we need more support in order to have, you know, we're going to be implementing a full transportation program. And in order to do that, we need more support to do that. My idea is to, you know, I feel bad for the admin. You know, she was hired as a clerk, which is the lowest level tier in her union. And she's doing things that shouldn't be asked of her. She's doing coordinating and managing and help being my second person. And I don't know if she wants that. So I think what we need is an assistant to me to do sort of some of those more managerial or more programmatic responsibilities.
Okay, so addition to making her permanent full-time, there's also a van driver that you're wanting to hire, or you've already hired one and it's been paid by ARPA?
No, we haven't done anything with the van yet.
Okay.
We're not going to start a van program until we have the clerical support in order to run it.
Okay.
That would put me and my staff over the edge to add one more thing to our plate.
But you're seeing a demand on like need for rides to places from your clients?
We are. I think I'm also working this van program in partnership with the Veterans Agent. You know, there's a lot of people who can't get to Brockton. It's not on the Gatra Run, so there is a need there. We've also had clients where, you know, they've needed treatments for cancer and weren't able to get into the city.
Are they able to take the ride? You know, that MBTA service, the ride?
We have Dial-A-Ride in Norton, and it's pretty limited in its scope. It serves just pretty much Norton and Attleboro, and it will go to Taunton a couple of days a week for medical. They do have a Med Wheels program, but which my people do use, but again, it's limited in scope. They can only use that like twice a month. So if you have somebody who needs dialysis on like every day of the week for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Beth.
Yep, you're welcome.
Beth, the van, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Sure, go ahead, Paul.
The van was bought with ARPA funds. Is it a new van or was it used?
It's new.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Bill.
And just to verify, at 20 hours, that's benefits?
Yeah, we would keep it at 18 hours.
Is it
For
20?
the van for the van drivers?
Right. We would keep them at 18, so they're not benefit eligible.
Okay, so then the salary will go down
Mm-hmm.
slightly.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Kevin, go ahead.
can I, the $20,000 for repairs and maintenance, does that include gas, or how did we come to that figure?
It's right now, we really don't know. It would include gas. So right now, we really don't know what the expenses are going to be. I'll have to go over that more with Keith on repairs that he sees, our annual maintenance, and that 20,000 would include gas.
I think the important thing to know about the van, it is handicapped accessible, so it does have a wheelchair lift that needs annual maintenance.
Is this like a Sprinter van, or is it like
A what kind of van?
one of those Sprinter vans?
It's a 16 passenger.
Gotcha.
And also there's the Gatra Go bus that operated by Keystone that serves North Mansfield, Foxborough, and sometimes I take that bus and maybe the seniors can try to use that bus to get to medical appointments and grocery shopping.
Thank you,
Yep.
Peter. I was thinking
We
maybe in the
always
evening.
use the GATRA transportation first. I mean, that's sort of our protocol, is to use the transportation that is available before we spend any money or find rides for people.
In the evenings,
Madam
can the
Chair?
finance committee use it for field trips?
No.
I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding.
What if we have our own driver? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Bill.
Getting back to the van, is there a geographic limitation, or, you know, we'll go from here to Boston, we'll go here to Providence?
I think that's
Or
the
is it-
farthest we would probably go.
Okay,
I mean, we're thinking that the majority of the rides would be, medical appointments would be to Brockton, maybe as far as like Norwood, maybe Boston, but those aren't as frequent. I'm thinking the majority of the medical will be to the Veterans Hospital.
thank you.
Welcome.
And is there a cell phone for the drivers or 2 cell phones for the drivers?
Yeah, that's what that money is there.
Cell phone.
I think it would just be one cell phone they would share.
Madam Chair?
Is that Paul? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Beth, you're sharing that with the veterans as well, with Estelle? and-
The van, yes. Yep.
Does she got separate line item, Mike, in her budget for the van at all, or is it all just under Beth's?
It's all under Human Services.
Thank you.
We're on the same team.
Dean Norton. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice.
I just want to invite anybody to come to the center, or if you need more information about the services and programs that we offer, just shoot me an email.
Great. Thank you, Beth.
Welcome.
Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
Next is veterans. And in the Veterans Office, we have Estelle, and Estelle has a part-time assistant. And her expenses, there's a slight reduction in her charges and expenditures. I'm sorry, she kept her charges and expenditures the same. And then the veterans benefits, that's the 220,000, that's benefits that are provided to veterans that are eligible in town, and 80% of those are reimbursed by the state. In FY22, we received $137,318 back from the state for what we expended on veterans benefits. So we never know exactly how many people are going to be seeking benefits and what the cost of those benefits are going to be. So Estelle has kept that at the same request as last year.
Any questions? Estelle's not here, right?
No, she had another meeting. She said she would try and get on, but I told her I'd do it if she couldn't make it.
Okay.
And then the other part of Estelle's budget is, we go to Memorial and Vets. So this is expenses for flags for the cemeteries and events that may require some funds, per the Memorial Day Parade or the Veterans Parade. And the same $2,000 that she's requested every year.
Any questions about Memorial and Vets or veterans? Not seeing any. Alrighty. Apparently people did like the 2.5-hour meeting last week, but very quiet tonight.
That's all I had.
So you just included the capital improvements 5-year plan just for our information?
Yes.
Okay, great. I assumed so since it wasn't on the agenda, but I just want to draw people's attention to it, that it was in your packet.
And if anyone that wasn't here last week, we met in one night, Capital, to review all of the requests. So Capital has reviewed them all, and we have not scheduled another meeting yet. We'll be scheduling another meeting in a few weeks to come back with our recommendations.
One thing that I thought we could cover, Mike, before you go is, I know Zach emailed you about this, is the train project. You just speak a little bit to what the meeting tomorrow night was supposed to be.
Okay.
And how it shall be rescheduled because train cannot make it.
So the main thing with the meeting was to have Train give a update on when we can expect to see some money coming back for the project from energy grants and energy savings that they have determined, and the solar credits, because we haven't received anything yet, and we have $1 million payment due next year. So we wanted to hear from Train an update on their schedule. And I think I sent you the original schedule that did show some money coming in, but we haven't received anything yet. So we want to get an update from them on when we will start seeing that.
Thanks.
So Madam Chair, I didn't see an email regarding cancellation tomorrow night.
Well, you didn't yet because, like the flurry of snow we will be getting, there have been a flurry of emails back and forth trying to determine that that was the way to go. And I just learned within the hour prior to our
About
meeting
15 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah, that train is not able to come. They're out of New Hampshire, I guess, is what Dr. Banda said, and so they're not planning to come tomorrow, which seems like it would be a good idea to have them there for a meeting that's being convened to speak about their project. So yes, I said I would let you all know tonight. I wish that I had a new date, but we're going to have to, the chairs, put our heads together with Mike and Joe to figure that out.
It's an easy thing to do.
Oh, it's very simple, especially for this board. On short notice, we prefer that, but I will be letting you all know or reaching out to you individually. So if you get a message from me, just respond quickly so that we can get that ironed out. If I have your cell phone number, I may reach out that way because it's usually the fastest rather than waiting for emails.
Well, Bonnie, on a high level, we have like $1 million payment? Is that what one of the issues is, that we got to come up with $1 million this year or something? Is that correct, Mike, or something? It's got to like magically appear or something?
That's the big issue. We want to see what we can anticipate coming back to help reduce that $1 million payment.
And is there anything on the warrant about this?
There is an article. I'm trying to think if it's on the annual or the special. It will be on the special. No, there doesn't have to be. That's right. There doesn't have to be an article. One of the thoughts was, depending on what we hear from Train, is to see if people would like to consider making this a debt exclusion, which would only require, since town meeting already approved the borrowing, it would only require a vote at the ballot. So it would require the select board to put a ballot question on the ballot in April or in the fall, whenever we have to make that payment.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Steve, go ahead.
Mike, wasn't the Trains project supposed to be over a 5-year period? Did we, I guess, accelerate that 5-year where we did all these projects all in 1 year? And because I didn't think the anticipation was to be making $1 million bond payment. Am I wrong there?
No, I think that was what the original thought was. We thought it was going to be spread out, but they sped up the project and did everything.
When you say they, who was they?
Train.
Trained it, so they have control over what projects they'll take, or is it there a committee in town? I thought when we went through the building reviews, there was a committee that was in charge of all that.
I know there was a committee to review the proposals and pick a company, but I don't know what authority that committee had after that.
So all those train projects are 100% complete now, turned on, ready, running?
As far as I know, we've spent all but a little under $900,000.
So for me, the plan was to spread these jobs or projects over a 5-year period that somehow got escalated to get it all done in a year.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
That's okay. And who oversees that kind of process?
Say that again, Steve.
Who oversees that? So we had assumptions when we voted to approve the train project of a 5-year project, and then it got overwritten. Who makes that decision? Train themselves?
Train, I would assume, in consultation with the school department and the staff there.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
And Mike, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, who said Madam Chair?
Zach.
Zach, go ahead.
The way I remember it, Mike, is this was presented to us as a cost-neutral project with the word guaranteed thrown out there several times in the presentations. So with all that being said, before we even have a meeting with them, has this been reviewed has our legal counsel reviewed this contract to see if it's, within the terms that we agreed to?
They have not, since the beginning, reviewed the contract, but when we sit down and go over what issues we have with Train and the school department, then we'll see if we need to have legal counsel look at whether Train is fulfilling what they said they were gonna do.
Will legal counsel be in attendance at the joint meeting?
I could do that, sure.
And just, I know we haven't seen all the budgets, yet, Mike, what is that $1 million gonna do to us? I'm guessing, we're gonna get blown out of the water here if there is no debt exclusion.
Yeah, because my estimate was that we'd have additional $2,155,000 to spend this year roughly. And if we use $1 million on train, that doesn't leave much for everything else.
And, Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Paul.
so Mike, the train project was strictly the school buildings, there was no town buildings involved, town hall or anything, or nothing?
No, they came through the town hall, but the town hall is and the police station, but the buildings are kind of small, so there wasn't much value in.
Other questions about train?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Bill.
Mike, maybe back to Steve's point initially. If something was presented as a 5-year plan, and therefore everybody is mentally thinking, payments of X per year, and then someone changes that major assumption, isn't there a disconnect in our process that doesn't come back to say, oh, by the way, we're not going to do it over 5 years. We're going to do it over 1, which, cost neutral or not, because $1 million to me isn't cost neutral. That's a major assumption that's been changed. And why didn't that come back?
That's a good question.
I also think there's a huge control breakdown here.
Well, Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
the other thing that comes to my mind is we're going to bring train in to talk about recouping the savings. With what leverage if everything's already done? We're going to ask them to show us savings with the projects all complete.
Oh, we still are holding, as I said, about close to $900,000. We have not paid out to them, and then if they're not fulfilling obligations that they were contractually obligated to do, we'd have to go after them legally.
Mike, do you know what percent of the total spend the 900K represents?
900 of 12 million, so.
Okay.
We have a lot of questions that we will need to ask when we meet with the train folks, the school committee, obviously the select board as well, but I mean, those I think are who these questions would be best answered by. So I look forward to the time when we can do that. And again, I will let you all know when I hear when that will be. I imagine it'll take at least a couple of days to iron that out. But as soon as I have a date to throw out, I will do so. Just a reminder that we will be meeting, our next meeting is scheduled for next Monday, the 20th, I believe is the date. And check your town email and let me know if you cannot attend a meeting, or if you're going to be late, just so we can start without you knowing that you're going to be late. Anything else to come before the board before we adjourn?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Bill.
I hate to bring up this topic of minutes.
It's a great
How far behind are we?
Mike, do you know how far behind we are on minutes? Where
don't.
Ann is at with that? If how
Not that
far
far.
behind are we is a question of what's been posted? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I know we caught up, I believe we caught up minutes from when I was chair. And I think we've caught
Yes,
up minutes
age.
from when Steve was chair.
Also the Stone
And-
Age.
Yes. So then I thought for the most part, we've gotten all Amy's past due minutes caught up. So that kind of leaves now last fall and now. Is that correct?
The last, I don't know if there are some still to be posted. But the last minutes I see posted on the town website are March 28th, 2022. So that's a year, almost a year ago.
So that's still part of Amy's term.
Mhm.
So Mike, why is this so painfully so far behind?
Because we had someone that was doing the minutes who then left. So now the new person has to get caught up on all those minutes.
Is it unreasonable to have a time frame?
Yeah, I'll check with her, and go over that. I'll see how many sets we need and, go over that.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay.
I mean, I would guess, yeah, we have probably 4 meetings from the spring of 22, probably 5 or 6 from the fall, usually. I don't know. I could figure it out. And then 2 from this spring so far. I hear
I
we
know
have some more.
last meeting is done already. I know that.
Well, that's great. We'd love to see it. The sooner the better. I think I speak for everyone when I say the sooner you receive the minutes after the meeting, the faster it goes to approve them because it's all fresh in our minds. So we appreciate that, Anne, wherever you are, that she has done that. Great question, though, Bill. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. If that is the case, it is 2 minutes before 8 o'clock. I'm sure everybody's happy about that. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Bill.
I recommend we adjourn for the evening.
Is
I'll
there a
second that.
second? Joe seconded. Thank you, Joe. All right, I will take a vote to see if everybody wants to adjourn. Kevin,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Trace,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Cody, who I noted arrived 10 minutes ago. But sorry you missed everything, but I will take your vote to adjourn.
Yes.
Hey, Cody.
Thank you.
And a Zach. Oh, we can't hear you, but I did see you 100% that you said
Yes.
And I too am a yes. It is 7:59. Nicely done, everyone. All right, see you next week.
Good night, everyone.